SF State's program in visual impairments presents TechTalk number 6, Remote Facilitation for Students Who Use Braille Notetakers. Presented by Mallory Carr, teacher of blind and low vision students, San Diego, California. Maria DiBernardo, teacher of blind and low vision students, Fremont, California.
Right. Welcome everybody to tonight's Tech Talk. Tonight's Tech Talk is co-hosted, and we're going to be hearing from Mallory Carr, who is a TVI in the San Diego area, and also Maria DiBernardo, who is a TVI at CSB, California School for the Blind. So tonight's topic is remote facilitation for students who use Braille Notetakers. We'll start with Mallory. She will go through a demo of how she does screen sharing with her student who uses a note taker. And then Maria will take us through a demo of how she is supporting math in real-time instruction. Both of these strategies, you guys, are really great for, our current times where everything is remote support, facilitation, remote teaching and learning. But these strategies are also going to be excellent when we're all back in the classroom and when you need to start distancing the student from that para or the TVI or adult support person in the classroom. So this is a great strategy that works in any format, anytime you need to just facilitate that student's independence in the general classroom. So we are going to hold questions until the end of each demo, but if you do have questions that come up, please feel free to chat them in the chat box and we'll get to them, or just make a note and we'll have time at the end of each demo, all right? So Mallory, up to you.
Hi everyone, I'm Mallory. I'm a first year in TVI, but I was an intern for the last 3 years. And I have a Braille student that his strongest subject is math. So we've been playing with screen sharing and math so that he has a one-on-one aid normally. And my goal is to take that one-on-one aid away from him, and math is going to be the first step. So I'm going to share my screen. Can you guys see my screen? Okay, so I'm just going to go through. I use, so the student uses a BrailleNote Plus, BrailleNote Touch Plus. So he downloaded this screen sharing app. So I'm going to go through what it is and how it works. And then I have a couple videos on us using it and where I sit in math with him. So it's called TeamViewer, and it's a screen sharing app. You can use it with any device, but it works really well with the BrailleNote. It works by, he downloads the quick support TeamViewer on the BrailleNote. And then the teacher has to download the TeamViewer program on whatever device. So I've tried it on a laptop, iPad, my phone. I can't think of anything else, but it all works. It's the only thing I found that doesn't work is the Chromebook because of the versions. But I use my laptop most of the time. Then we have to be on Wi-Fi, but we can be on different networks, which I just learned. So that's going to be super helpful during closures. So we're both on Wi-Fi. And then he opens his app. So this is it on my phone just because I don't have his device, but this is what it will look like. And so he has a unique ID number. In this case, it's mine. And then he would read it to me for the first time setting up. And then this screenshot right here, number 5, is my screen. So I put where it says partner ID, I put his ID number, and that lets me see his screen. On his end, after I put the number in, on his end, a dialog box comes up saying, would you like to allow to remote support your Android device? And he can do A for allow. And then it works right away after that. And then, so this is like a screenshot of what I see on my end. So this is all SimBraille because it's Nemeth and he was using KeyMath. But so this is the main screen where I can see his work, and it says Chapter 7 quiz, and I can see what Braille he's doing, making sure he's on the right number. And then on the left, it just says text has been copied to the device clipboard over and over again because using KeyMath to go back and forth, you copy and paste. And that's also the chat where we can chat to each other, which I'll show you. Okay, so when we use this, we do it during regular Braille instruction just so I can see it. A lot of times TVIs use monitors using the HDMI, but I find this is a lot easier because he can be in a totally different room and or school or home, and I can still see what he's doing. When he's editing writing, it's really helpful, like if he has an essay or on Google Docs. And then in his math class, so like I said, he has a one-on-one, but this year I'm supporting him in math by not sitting with him because his one-on-one tends to sit with him too much. So I'm going to his math class with him, but I sit at my own table, which is rare that there's an empty table, but in this class there is. So I sit at my own table with his Braille ready so I can get up and give it to him and any math textbooks I have. So that way he's sitting with his peers, not glued to an adult. They know why I'm there. They know all the students and stuff. But so I said it's his strongest subject. I sit at my own table. So my future goal with him, which will happen, is to not be in the room at all, to be on campus, but to be in my Braille room. Because on the chat box, he can say like, hey, I need help, or I have a test coming right now, or something like that. And then another future goal, which will be a while later, is having his aide do the same. So right now I'm doing it because I'm very fluid with knowing how to get it set up. So once we get back, I'll be training his aide so that she can get set up on her own device, whatever that may be. And then she can kind of sit at least away from him and all that stuff. So that's my little setup. And so that's during math notes, and during math groups, they didn't do games and stuff, but this was a game. And the picture is my laptop with his Braille display, and then a student looking at what is on the laptop. And this is the student working on the Braille. So the students all had to work together on their whiteboards. And my student was able to show his work on his Braille note, and the other students were able to check it and write as a big group. It was like a big timed thing where they had to hurry up and write stuff. So it was really cool because the kids could like see his own work and interact with him without me saying, okay, the student wrote 4 + 7. And that kind of thing. So I was able to step back entirely for this whole activity, which was really exciting. And the kids love it. Obviously, that kid looks happy. Okay. And then, okay, so this is another picture. So the whiteboard is what the students were writing, proportions. And then this is my student working with them, and they are checking his answers on the laptop. And then I'm hoping to use this during school closures when the student gets internet. Right now he doesn't, so we haven't tried it. But I did try it with another device, and you can, as long as you're on any Wi-Fi, so he can be on his own Wi-Fi and myself on my own, and I can see his screen, which is super wonderful. It's because I was kind of worried about how to troubleshoot during all this, and I was able to see another device, so that was really exciting. And he knows how to do it already, so it's not going to be too big of a learning curve, I hope. And then some notes. So Quick Support, the app that he uses, runs in the background of the Braille Note, so it's not intrusive. It doesn't pop up or anything like that, which is nice. If I send him a chat like, hey, student, check your, I don't know, number 4, it will show up in the notification shade on his tablet on the Braille Note. And then you just enter that with Enter + N is the command. And then you can do Q for Quick Support. The unique code, the 10-digit number, whatever it was, does not change. So setup gets easier and quicker. When we set up, we usually do it before class starts, but sometimes we get there right at time. So I will say, okay, let's do Quick Support, and then he'll hurry up and do it. And all he has to do is wait for the dialog box to say A for allow. So it's less than a minute. Need to be on Wi-Fi, so that's just something to know. But you can be on different networks, which is wonderful news for me. And then I was unable to use a Chromebook. So this is a video, hopefully it works, of us starting it. And then stop me if sound is weird or anything like that. So this is from my computer. I opened TeamViewer 14. And his ID is already in there, but if I needed a different one, I can click the drop-down menu. It has stored like historical ones. So I put his in there, remote control is defaulted, and then I hit connect. And then on his end, dialog box pops up saying, would you like to allow? And that's my e-tag for my computer. And he can hit the A key to allow, but right now I have the screen open. So he's using the thumb keys. And so Quick Support is running in the background, so it's not intrusive on what he's doing. And now I can see what he's doing. So can you go in and try to message me? Oh, here, you can do this. Sorry. So this is what he is doing on his end. So this is what his looks like.
In the Quick Support menu. And now the student is seen typing in his chat box. Next, what do you think?
Out of Quick Support. to message you. So, so on my end, it has his screen in like the main area region, and then on the left, it has like our chat box. So this is what he said. What do you think? I'm gonna say. And then on his end, does anything pop up telling you that I said something?
Yes.
Okay, can you open it?
I have to go into.
So it says message from.
I have to go into notifications to know that to do it, and it will take me a long time.
I think you can do M for message. Try again.
Nope.
No, try Q for quick support. So read me what I wrote you.
I think it's really great.
That's TeamViewer. Okay, I missed his voice. That made me sad. Okay, so then that's us setting up and just doing a quick chat. And then again, when we set up, he doesn't have to go back and forth and look at it unless for any reason. I did take a quick video of an iPad just in case. It's not any different. This is a short video, but just wanted to show just in case. Okay, read me the ID.
The ID is 1508 572
572
456.
456. So can you tell the video what just happened on your Braille note?
What just happened is once my Braille note is hooked up, then you can see what I'm doing.
Good. So how did you connect to what I just had though?
I connected to what's called quick support.
And so I asked you for the ID number, and then what happened? I put the ID number in, and then what?
And then there's dialogue box said allow blah 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 to happen. So then I hit A for allow, and that's how we hook up.
Perfect. Okay, so let's go into whatever, Bookshare, whatever it's called. I meant Easy Reader, but he knew what I meant, so. Okay, and then the last video is just a 10-second video of where I sit in his classroom just to get an idea. This is an empty class before class started, but just so you can see kind of our setup. So that's me, oops. And then he's in that corner right in by the door. And then the rest of the kids are not in there yet, but they usually are. And that's all I have. I hope you guys have any questions or anything, or you can use it. I love it, so yeah. That's it, team.
Thank you, Mallory.
Thank you.
So I don't have any questions from the chat box, but I have a couple questions. If you about how long did it take you guys to really ramp up and implement the system in the classroom?
Not long. The process to start quick support is actually quite seamless, and the app is very accessible. So, and there's not a lot to the app. So we did a little bit of exploring, but there's only a couple buttons and one edit box. So he just kind of picked it up really quick. For me to sit in the class, it's more so the teacher wants me in there, not so much the student. So it's kind of training the teacher that he's going to be okay. So, I mean, we're in, I don't know, what month are we in? April, March? So it's been a couple months with me in that class with that teacher. But within the first month or so, I really did step back a lot. I'll sit with him if there's a lot of graphics or something I don't have in Braille or something like that. But when we have the opportunity, the student likes for me to be away and I like to be away.
And I really love that you've taught him the vocabulary for dialogue.
Yeah.
Those computer.
Yeah. I'm hoping he can teach other students and his aide in the future. So I want him to be able to really be able to explain it.
Totally. And when he needs to troubleshoot, for calling in tech support, he'll have that's great.
Mm-hmm.
And then my other question was, when you send him a message, does he get a notification or a ding or something to know that
Yeah, something pops up on his Braille display, and I think if the sound was on, it would pop up as well, but it'll say message from quick support, but nothing like pops up on the screen, you know, so if he's working on document, nothing will like, what's the word, interrupt what he's doing. So that's, I kind of like that it works in the background.
Got it. Great.
So, yeah.
Great. And then Justin in the chat box mentioned that some school networks block remote desktop apps. So this is definitely something that you have to put IT work with to unblock that sort of access.
And that our IT was, they haven't quite blocked screen share, but they did block his Google access to it, which is crazy. But it did take a long time, and they ended up just putting our students that have visual impairments on like a special list that had all of these allowing, you know, features. But it did take a long time. Yeah.
Yeah, I found that you have to go to the IT director or assistant director who makes those decisions and ask them to put all the VI kids in. It's called a bin, so that you can set the special permissions for that bin of students.
Yeah. So that did take a while.
Are there any other questions from people who are participating?
I'm looking at Neil's comment. It says, are any of his gen ed teachers using this process to help edit work or answer specific questions? Not yet. Right now I'm working on figuring out how to get a device that he can kind of carry with him. The only thing I can think of is my work iPad, which I need. And since I haven't gotten it to work seamlessly, at least on the Chromebooks, I don't really know what to send with him. So I got to work with IT on that. It's going to be as easy as getting him using his laptop that he has, but not yet, but that's our goal when we come back to school.
Jinx, Neil.
Good question.
Any other questions, you guys?
Can I ask a quick question? Ms. Taylor.
Please.
For quick support and then the other app, they're two separate apps, right?
Yeah, so quick support is on his end, and that's what he downloads so that I can like remote control his screen, which I think essentially you're able to control it, but I've never tried it. I don't do that.
You don't need quick support on your end. This is just for the
No. On my end, I have to download TeamViewer software.
Got it. Okay.
So they work together.
Does he need the TeamViewer on his?
No, just the quick support. Yeah, good question. And then I'm reading Dustin St. John. So we tried, but quick support drops the connection when the device goes idle. So we opted for small HDMI monitors. I haven't found quick support dropping our connection.
Lucky.
Yet. I'm sure one day I will. Maybe my student just doesn't ever go idle long enough.
All right. Well, thank you so much for that demo, Mallory.
Thank you.
Really exciting to see where this technology is going. Okay, so let me just take a minute to change the host privileges and introduce our next host. So next up, we have Maria DiBernardo, TVI at CSB, and Maria and I go way back. We actually taught together when I was fresh out of grad school. So Maria saw me as a newbie teacher. And so it's really exciting to just have kind of developed our careers together and been on this path together. So I'm really happy to have you co-hosting here.
Thank you.
Show us. Okay, floor is yours.
Okay, welcome everyone. This is my first presentation in tech, so just bear with me. So I was reading Ting's book, and I was flipping through the pages, and I came upon a little paragraph that said how to make math accessible via Google Docs. And being a mainstream teacher, it's all about Google Drive, Google Docs, and all the apps and extensions that go with it. So I was like, oh, I got to check this out. So I went to Equatio and I watched a couple of instructional videos that weren't really making sense. So we actually called Equatio, spoke to a couple of the writers there and developers, me and along with one of my students that actually is on this, David. We tried to iron a couple of things out, and they're working on their end and we're working on our end to make it accessible on a Braille display. So let me explain to you what it is. Equatio is a Google extension that allows math to be accessible for blind and visually impaired individuals and students. Along with Equatio, you also need other extensions that go with it, which is Read and Write and the PDF viewer. And this is really simple. If I could do it, anybody could do it. You just go on Google, type on Equatio, put that in, PDF viewer, put that in, Read and Write, put that in. So we do that. And the great thing about this is, and it's been said before, right? We don't want to be barriers to our students. Like me being a physical barrier and like socially, especially at high school, you like a girl, you like a guy, you know, you're like, oh, tricks in my way. And I'm trying to like deal with the kid, not the math homework, right? So distancing yourself is great because here it is, real time. How many times are you sitting in a classroom and the teacher's going, oh, and then you just put the variable over here, and then you move this one over here, and you know, your students like, over where? And you're like trying to whisper what they're doing on the smartboard. So this is actually really good because as the teacher's writing on the smartboard, you can actually write in different ways into the Equatio using either your voice, using handwriting, or you could just type it in with your keyboard and it shows up right on the student's Google Doc. Reads it to him, and then they could use their note takers to solve the problems. So another pro that is really, really great is that you, as a TVI, can make out practice sheets yourself. So on downtime, or if you want to give an extension of homework, you could make up your own sheets. You could turn PDFs that the teacher posts on Google, and you can convert those right in from the PDF viewer. And I could show you how to use the Equatio, and you use the screenshot reader and import the math on the new Google Doc, and you have it right there, real time. As a matter of fact, we were on a Zoom lesson just this week, and with the algebra teacher, I have 2 students in that class, and as the teacher was writing on he uses his Mac Air, and as he's writing on his PDF, making it on his screen, then all I would actually do is split my screen and write it right into the Equatio. My students would get it right there, and they were the first to answer most of the questions. It was really heartwarming. So right now, as I had mentioned, as a con, it doesn't show up on the Braille displays. As one of my students described to me, because I'm not very tech versed, they said it's like me speaking, I speak Italian and English. It's like me speaking Italian and English and meeting somebody who speaks 2 different languages other than Italian and English, and us trying to converse and have a conversation. So the platforms are a little different, and so when we spoke to Mike and Lou, the math guru over at TechTalk and Equatio, they are going to be working on that. So coming soon. And let's see, I would like to show you, just share my screen. So this is the PDF that the teacher had posted on Google Classroom. It's a worksheet, and you can see that he handwrites everything on his screen, saves it as a PDF, and then posts it on Google Classroom. So I would use, when you open it up on Google Classroom, it shows how would you like to open this. I select the read and write. It uses the PDF viewer, which if you could see my cursor, it's right there, converts it into,
with all the other extensions. Just
yep, on the taskbar. And here it is. So I can select this as a regular text, right? And then just paste it right here
into a Google Doc.
as a Google Doc, a new Google Doc. You would open up a new Google Doc. This one I named Zoom Presentation. I would go back to my original PDF that's been converted. And at the bottom is the screenshot reader. If you guys are familiar with a scientific notebook, the way you toggle between the math and the text, where the math is a thinner line than the text is a thicker line. So this, when you select screenshot reader, you get that blue line above the icon. You could then select the math there is 3 choices. You could either replay it, more options, or you could close out of it. You select more options. You select copy, latex. You go to your new Google Doc. You place your cursor wherever you want it to be. You open up at the bottom, you have your Equatio opened up. You open up Equation Editor. I have selected a couple of things, so I'm going to erase that. I press paste, insert math, I have to move my screen around, and there it is on my Google Doc. Then on my student's end, he has his earpods in, and it reads exactly that. It reads 8x cubed, y cubed. Going back to the PDF, you could just select it like you would copy and paste. You could highlight. And it's probably easier when it's typed out, but this teacher, he likes to handwrite his stuff. So here I highlighted the text that I'd like to copy. I'm pressing Control C. I'm going back to my doc, my Google Doc. and I'm just pressing Control V. So here's the text, and you have basically what you have on that was a PDF that was not accessible into an accessible, readable to a student who is blind and visually impaired. Alternatively, if I go back to the equation editor, and I just erase that, I could press on the speech input. I don't know if it's going to work now because this speech is on, but we'll try it. And you could read into it and use this microphone. So let's try it. 2x plus 7. Two x plus 7. I'm sorry, I don't think it's working because, well, actually it is working. Okay, and then it would actually insert and it would show up wherever your cursor was placed. As well, you could handwrite on here, and if it's quicker for you to use a stylus, that would be fine. And also, right before this presentation, I have to move my screen around, sorry. Right before this presentation, I said, let me play with the graph. And so what happened was I went to the graph editor, which is also at the bottom taskbar, and Desmos, or something that looks like Desmos, showed up, which is actually Desmos. And I had put in y equals 3x minus 7. And I had put in insert graph. And that's how it inserted the graph. Although, when I asked my student, David, who is actually on the document right now, to read the graph, it wasn't reading the graph coordinates or the equation to him. So what I did was I did Control Alt Y, which is alt text, which if you use Word or if you put in descriptions, it's actually a description of the image. So I'm not sure, David, if you could read the graph now based on my description. Let me know, give me a yes.
Yeah, it's reading now.
It's reading the graph?
Yeah, I don't know how, but it is now.
Okay, I had put in my Control Alt Y for keyboard shortcut. And so I had put in a description. Can you read me what the description says? Could you tell me what the description says?
Yeah, let me. Y equals 2x7.
Yes.
Okay.
2x plus 7?
Oh, it doesn't say plus.
Oh. Okay. We'll have to tweak that. So once that's tweaked, then they could get a visual representation and verbal representation of the graph. If they have residual functional vision, they could enlarge this and they could see the graph, which is also substantiation of that. So just to review, here's your PDF. You're going to open it up with the read and write. Oops. Once that opens up, your PDF is now converted. You're going to open up your Equatio, which is the icon in your taskbar. Your Equatio taskbar is at the bottom. You're going to press your screenshot reader when you want to select math. There's 3 options. You could replay it. There's more options, or you could just close out if you decided, oh, not worth it.
Hey, Maria. Sorry to interrupt. It's Ting.
Hey,
I was just curious. Can you do a little experiment for me at this step right here?
sure.
I'm just curious. If you choose Copy Math ML,
Yeah.
and plop that into the Google Doc, will
Mhm.
that render it in Braille on David's Braille display?
We actually tried that, but we could try it now. David, do you have your Polaris with you?
Yeah, that would be an issue because I have my Polaris with me, but the computer I'm using does not have Bluetooth functionality, so I would not be able to Bluetooth it to my computer.
Okay.
And wait, hold on. No, sorry.
Okay. When we spoke to Math Guru, Lou, the Math Guru, I don't recall what he had said. Do you remember what he had said?
About the Braille?
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't read because the math, it's an image, so it won't read on a Braille display. The Equatio extension lets the screen readers read the math, though. Like he said, the first step is, I think this is exactly what he said. He said the first step is to make it to where, like the priority is to make it to where math can be online, and the second was accessibility. So I think they're still working on a way for the Braille displays to read.
Yeah. So they're still working on their end with it, but their foremost priority was to make math accessible. And what a great time, because now everybody is on this distant learning, and whatever the math teacher sends them or posts on Google Classroom, a lot of times is PDF. When a couple of weeks ago, when this closure began, I was actually on the phone with my students reading the whole thing to them. And it was kind of time consuming, tedious. Not everybody goes at the same pace. So this is a magic bullet to go at your own pace. You could review, you could reread, and go at your own pace. So.
Thank you. So that, sorry, I interrupted your summary there. So once you clicked copy and then you put
Oh,
it
okay, sorry. So then so here's the 5+X. I'm going to select copy latex. I go to my Google Doc that I already had opened, and I place it wherever you want. You go to the equation editor, open that up. You paste into that. Select Insert Math. And there it is.
Hey, Maria?
Yeah.
I found a cable so I can put my Polaris to my laptop now.
Awesome.
So you can try what she was saying about the math ML, whatever.
What Ting was saying. So I'll copy the math ML.
I don't know what exactly she said.
Yeah.
All right, hold on a second. I have to move my screen around.
But the way that you did it, you're doing it right now, Maria, when you copy and paste the LaTeX into the Google Doc, it just reads it with a screen reader. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Got it. So
David uses NVDA.
Awesome.
I will say NVDA is much better with this than JAWS is.
Okay, that's a good tip.
I go to my screenshot reader. I select the math. I go to more options. Ting, would you like me to try the Math ML?
Yeah, yeah, could you? I'm just curious.
Yeah, us too. I go to my Google Doc. I open up my equation editor. Maybe I'll put it in here. Ooh,
Oh, well, you copied it in MathML actually, so
hold on. Hold on. Okay, let's do it. Oh, hold on, sorry. Technical function. Okay. Okay. Now I paste it. Will it come out that way? I don't know. Let's see what it came out to.
oh no.
Oh boy.
Oh no, okay.
Oh boy.
That's too bad because this could be a big breakthrough here because I know Braille displays can read MathML. So Equatio would just need to allow you to copy that equation as MathML and then paste it as MathML. So then you would see it and it would read as the equation and it would also display in Braille as the equation. So maybe that's the missing link.
Yeah, that's the missing link, and they did say that they're working on it. They were
Maria?
very, very happy that David and I came on board, and they offered us pilot.
Cool.
So we're going to be working with them closely on that. David's very, like, technically, he's got all that iOS and he knows everything about that. So he was very helpful speaking to Mike, who is one of the writers. And Lou, the math guru, has been teaching math for 14 years. So he had the math end of it. So between everybody working together, it's going to be a short time till we could do this and the students could get it on the Braille display and it'll work perfectly.
Maria?
Yeah.
Yeah, my Polaris won't work with the display because the computer I have right now is on Windows 7, and that does not have the available drivers for the display with NVDA.
Yeah.
That'll be a fun one.
Yeah.
Yeah, Neil and I are wondering if maybe when you hit copy, it copies as an image, which is why you're getting that image with alt text. And then Justin and Sarah are wondering, could you try pasting the equation into the Doc's equation editor?
Okay. So go here and let's see.
Thanks for doing this live.
Maria? Sorry, you can go.
No, go ahead, David.
Okay. What he did say too, there is a Windows application for Equatio too. So if, say, you don't use Google Docs, you can paste this math into Word too.
In Word.
Yeah, but where did you find it? You would go to TechTalk and you would download it, the exe for the application.
Thanks, David.
Yeah. Okay. You would like me to copy LaTeX?
MathML, I think.
MathML?
Yeah.
Okay. Go to the Google Doc. Okay. And what would you like me to do from here?
Oh, Sarah, go ahead.
I keep trying to touch things.
For Dustin, did you have a recommendation for where she should try to paste this?
Insert equation.
Oh, like in the bottom right where it says insert math?
Go to insert at the top in the menu bar.
Oh, got it.
Got it.
And then there's an option for equation.
Uh-huh.
And it brings up the editor. And then you can just do Control V. And then hopefully enter translates it to something.
Enter now.
Yeah.
Visually, it looks the same as if she used Equatio. I couldn't remember if it was an insert or in format, which is why I kept trying to reach for the screen to look.
I'm not sure what language Google Docs equation editor uses. I don't know. It might be MathML, it might be LaTeX, it might be something else.
MathML.
Yeah.
David, could you read what I just said?
It still says y equals 2x plus 7. It didn't change anything over here.
Oh, that was the graph.
Where then? Down here?
I just pasted, oh, keep going down. It's the last line. Keep going.
Yeah. That I don't think that'll read properly.
It didn't read it?
No, it was just saying a bunch of letters and numbers.
Oh.
However, this was a really good demo of how you guys can be on a shared Google Doc and you're able to see where a student is in the document. So this is a really cool demo of just having a shared Google Doc.
Yeah.
So Neil from the chat says that equations that are created in Microsoft Word Math Editor can be sent directly to a note taker and come up as correct Nemeth. So David, did you say something about pasting an equation into Word? And would you mind just repeating that for us?
Sure, that's the, so there's a program, it's Equatio, and I'm not sure if it'll work if you transfer it to a note taker. That would be something to try with one of the other students we have that we work with. It's the Equatio that you can paste math into the Microsoft Word document, so it might read from there. I haven't tried it yet though, because I don't have Word on this computer.
Great, thank you, David.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Maria, did you want to show us anything else about this workflow?
No, that's basically, that was my breakthrough and I was very happy with that.
That's awesome. That now, David, you've got, you can actually just access the equation as soon as it pops up in the Google Doc with your screen reader.
Yeah, it makes my life a lot easier because before we were on the phone for like 2 hours. Okay, here's this equation. Okay, wait for the other students to be done and I'll give you the other equation.
Well, you haven't picked up Maria's New York accent yet, so I guess.
Maria's New York. Yep, not yet.
So, Maria, can you talk to us a little bit about how long did it take you to work this out and implement it with your student, with David?
I have to tell you, it was quick. I watched.
Not very long.
Yeah, I watched. It's a 2-minute and 17-second video. She is so nice to listen to. Her voice is so nice and velvety, and she explains everything so nicely. I just simply followed the same steps that I just showed you. And just to make sure, please make sure that you have all of those 3 extensions, or else you're going to run into roadblocks. They don't work without one in the other. And it was quick. If I tell you maybe 15 minutes tweaking back and forth, and we got it.
Oh, awesome. I think that's really encouraging for people who might be looking at this and just, it seems like an overwhelming amount of tech to have to figure out, but it sounds like you're just downloading the 3 Chrome extensions. So Equatio, Read and Write, and PDF Viewer.
Yep.
And then, yeah, then you were up and running, huh?
And you're up and running. It's
For
simple.
sorry,
Go ahead, David.
okay. If anyone here does have a VI student that has a Chromebook or anything, I know most people don't. It does read with Chromebox. It does read on Google Docs too with this Equatio, as long as you have the Equatio extension.
So we do have a few minutes left, and I'm wondering if maybe Mallory and then Maria, if you guys can talk a little bit about, and David too, since you're here, I would love to know more about like what tech skills your students already had that allowed them to be successful. So then we can start talking about like, you know, how we need to think very early on how to prepare kids for this kind of setup.
This is Mallory. Something I like my students to do when we're doing something new is to thumb through the screen using his Braille Note Taker to know what's on the screen and like know when a certain button's gonna come up versus an edit box and kind of get the layout. We do that with most everything. So when we had this new team or quick support app, it was really easy.
Insofar as my position, being in the mainstream high school, once they get to my level, they already have all their tech on the belt and way beyond anything that I could probably support or teach them. But they they are back, they're all packed up. Everybody has screen readers of choice, devices of choice, moving on to new and better devices. They speak directly to Humanware, HIMS, and ask for the hottest items on the press.
It's true. From when I started CSB, I went through, oh God, a bunch of devices. I started out with just a BrailleNote Touch. I moved to a Polaris. I got my laptop. I thought, this Polaris is too big. I don't like it. So I got the Polaris Mini. And then I got my MacBook. I got my iPad. I got my other iPad. I got my phone. I got everything. But this is what we use I use it about every day for different things, because with the way we do things, you need a lot of things. Like you need the screen reader, you need the Braille display, you need the laptop, say we're doing English, so we can go back and forth reading what we're reading and typing what we have to type, like an essay or something.
I want to stress the importance of getting these kids on technology as soon as possible. You definitely need the tactile foundations, but move them simultaneously into technology. Like Mallory said, you know, knowing the lay of the land, where things are on the screen, how things are formatted, and of course everything changes, but just to become familiar with the language is very important as well.
Okay, Chris Fendrick asks, instead of so many devices, would you like to move to just a refreshable Braille display with a laptop and your phone? Question for David.
No. Because I would run into an issue the way I am with my tech. If I just had my refreshable Braille display, my laptop, and my phone, yeah, they all do their things, but I would run into a roadblock sooner or later. For example, math, I need my Polaris for that, which I could use as a Braille display, but it's a little too small. That's why I have my QBraille when I use it. My Mac is because if I need something really accessible, I have VoiceOver, and I can change contrast a lot easier. My iPad is for if I want to interact with things closer, like use the touch screen. and my phone is a lot for the time. Say we're doing like, I don't know, something, and you don't have a lot of room for a laptop or any of that, just pull out your phone, use Google Docs, and that helps. So I would run into an issue somewhere if I were to only have those 3 devices, the Braille display, computer, and phone.
I love that description. Any
I
other
just
I
want to
like the tech toolbox.
Yeah, it was really
Yes.
nice having like a Braille user during this conversation, by the way. It was cool to like have him try stuff out and that kind of thing. So thank you, David.
No problem.
other questions, you guys? All right, well, just so everybody knows, this is recorded. It will be produced and published on the VI Programs YouTube channel. So if you just go to YouTube and type in VI Program SFSU, you should be able to find our channel. And in the comments area, when I post the video, I'll also have a link to a Google folder, which will have Mallory's document for her workflow. It'll have Maria's recipe for the things that need to be downloaded. That link will be posted right there, as well as the links to the tutorial videos that Maria mentioned on Equatio. All right, so hopefully that'll be up in the next couple weeks. So thank you again, Mallory and Maria, for joining us, for hosting us. And thanks everybody for joining us tonight. Really good to see you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hosted by Yuting Su, PhD, VI Program Coordinator and Assistant Professor. Video editing by Monica Kulanite, VI Program Manager.